All right, so Lux Shen is one of the decks that I had actually played a good bit of when Runeterra first released, and it's one that we haven't really revisited with the most recent card drops. This is an attempt to upgrade that shell. The very obvious, easy question that we're going to want to be thinking about while we play this deck is this shell offering something that's meaningfully different and better than what Shen Fiora does? So Lux allows us to go a bit bigger consistently. So she says, when I've seen you cast 6+ mana worth of spells, create a Final Spark, and Final Sparks allow you to control the board. So as opposed to being an aggressively slanted Shen deck, this Shen deck tends to be a little bit more mid-rangey and controlling. We've got cards like Remembrance to trigger Lux consistently. And then we've got Stand United here, which is excellent with both of our champions. This is a 6-mana burst spell, so this levels Lux and makes us a Final Spark. And also gives us double barriers for Shen to help him work towards leveling up. We've got other cards that provide barriers, such as Riposte and Spirit's Refuge. We've got the usual suspects like River Shaper to generate some card advantage, Protege and Fleet Feather Tracker to provide a little bit of board control early, and then, Greenglade Caretaker and Brightsteel Protectors, other cheap threats that pair well with our barrier synergies. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games here with this and see if this feels reasonable or if it's just a worse version of the other established deck. I know you're like half making a joke with that statement, Lambton, but that is also another consideration too, right? Like, there's is this better than the more aggressive Fiora shell? But there's also the question of, is this better than the more controlling shell that Zoe offers? I think is a real question we're thinking about too. So we're attacking on odds here, which means Remembrance could be our turn 3 play. We just go ahead and do this turn 3 on after banking some spell mana. That doesn't seem unreasonable, honestly. They're playing an aggressive deck. I think Concussive Palm, keeping help for that is fine. And then we have this turn 3, this turn 4 seems fine.
The party has arrived.
Very strong start for the opponent here. Good solid hit on turn 2. I think if I hadn't been on attacking on odds this game, I probably would have full mulliganed this hand, but the fact that I get to do this after only getting attacked once is a big deal. Basically all of the hits off of Remembrance are good here. Especially when paired with something like Spirit's Refuge.
Joker.
I'm not Concussive Palm here. I think after I do this, they basically don't have good attacks. They can throw away Draven and trade a 2/2 for my 3/2 for a little bit of damage. I think there's a good chance they have Vision anyways, so I think I just block the 2/2. Even if they have Vision, this has Tough, so this beats Vision here.
Now we're cooking.
I'm not quite sure why they axed that one. I guess they wanted to put extra damage on here. This means this dies to get excited now, I suppose. That's not strictly an oopsie. This could have a get excited to kill this. It's a decent draw. Is it? Yeah, it's fine. They pitched a survival skills. Maybe it was just the best. Maybe it was just the people saying they discarded survival skills and it was bad. Like, you don't know what the context of my opponent's hand is. You're making an assumption that they had a better card to discard there. It could just be, even knowing the interaction, that was just the worst card in their hand. Hey, thanks, Wargy. I appreciate the 16 months. Welcome back. Hope you're staying safe out there in this crazy world. Is this a get excited to kill this? That's what the axe on the Draven last turn implied. Okay, yep. Hopefully this is life-saving.
I swim within the flows of magic.
Blood glory!
Alright, so Jinx is leveling.
Strike, we will reform.
We're going to 4. This is technically doing +2. So we're dead to vision with these blocks. I don't think I can play around second vision here. Dead to missile. They're not going to get a missile. They'll get a missile next turn. Potentially. People that are telling me I should block Jinx, please explain why I should be blocking Jinx. Don't expect me to tell you you're wrong. Tell me why you're right. The actual answer is, I don't think it really matters. We're going to be dead to 2 missiles either way, and there's a good chance they make a missile this turn and next turn, so I just don't have a way to answer this. I don't have another way to gain life insight anywhere. The barriered unit could survive the quick attack from Jinx, and you would have killed her. Sure, okay, so this is why the details matter there, Fekarox. In my mind, I wasn't thinking about blocking Jinx with the barrier unit. You're right that if I could survive the hit from the overwhelm unit, I should have put my barriered unit in front of Jinx. I agree with that. That's why it's good to articulate yourself as opposed to just like pounding things into chat. I don't remember what the life totals were. If I had the ability to survive the hit from the overwhelm unit and kill Jinx there with the barrier still, that is the play I should have taken. I agree with that. When you said block Jinx, my mind went to why should I chump block Jinx?
Break their spirits and their swords! Run them through!
Reddit doesn't care about examples of actually generating conversation. They're just looking for someone to shit on when they complain about me. That's just how life is. You don't logic people out of positions they didn't logic themselves into.
Making the dead dare.
Probably concussive palming this. I guess we could riposte to kill this. I kind of want to click OK and just trade this for their Bark Beast, huh? Is that crazy? I think that's the plan. That seems great for us. And then I play Shen here and we open attacks with this hooking into this because this has a temporary buff here, right? So we get to go ahead and like attack our barrier into their 4-2. Hey, Incendium. Have a castle on your plot of Hoaglandia land. Thank you for the 4 entire years of support. It's a long time. Thanks for keeping me around. What do we think of doing this? I think I'm into it. I could be wrong though. I like keeping this around because it threatens to kill Elysian if they deploy it.
Something inspiring for confidence.
Yeah, it's a 2-for-2 that's like technically a tempo negative exchange for us, but like it's not the worst.
Got your back.
And like now this gets to hook into here and eat it, which is nice.
My steel is
Hardly fair.
Hey, Seamus, thanks for the 16 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Nanich! Thank you for the 11 months and for the very generous tier 3. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, that's a shark chariot. I assume they're gonna have more to deploy here with the Grand Plaza. Hey, God bless Disoriental. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's perfectly fine, Spartan. I know you don't need to drop a form for that. I appreciate it. I think we're playing Protege here, and then we'll concussive palm this, and we'll drop Scout Dragon next turn and hopefully pressure them out of the game. Because I expect this to hook here and these 3 to hook these.
Don't get in my way.
Okay, now the plan has changed. Has it, actually? It hasn't.
Bring in the heat.
Oh. Okay, fingers crossed for no sharp sight. All right, no sharp sight. A lot of the Senna builds of the opponent's archetype don't have room for sharp sight. Yeah, the fact that they hooked with Lucian is real good for us here. So the quick attack there breaks the barrier, but then they trade on the normal attack, so.
Act when you're yapping.
Yeah, trading my 7-drop for their 4-drop isn't particularly exciting. I guess I technically didn't spend a card on this because it came free from Egghead, but this doesn't feel like a great exchange from this side of the board. That's interesting. Like a Hecarim here. If they deploy Hecarim, this Concussive Palm is great. Onslaught, sure. I'm still at 18. Feels like they're setting up for Hecarim, which should make this Concussive Palm great. Second Lucian could be a possibility because they do have their rally ready to go. Yeah, if I play the 1-drop, their 3/3 just gets to eat it in combat, though, which doesn't seem particularly good for me. I'd much rather play it out post-combat. So that way it gets to live next turn. This attack says rally. It actually doesn't, right? Because if they had a rally, they would leave back one of their ephemerals.
These woods protect their own.
So if they had a rally, they would leave one of these home so it could summon the Shark Chariot again. Yeah, it's just a normal attack. Actually, in a pretty good spot here, right? Because I get to play this and then play a 4 Demacia next turn, and then a scout attack, and then attack with everything being large. What if I just open attack? What saves them from an open here? Single combat? I mean, stuns don't kill ephemerals. They just didn't have board space. Because they had 5 things plus this. There wasn't room for it to go back to their bench. Okay, I'm gonna open on a scout attack. There's no reason to pump it beforehand. Because it might actually be right to go this turn. This gives them a chance to play an ephemeral thing out that makes multiple blockers, but we technically beat 3 blockers here, right? Because we play this and then make everything a lethal attacker with 4 Demacia. Yep. Down okay. Where's my escape hatch? Can I just, like, put a setting that is just, like, auto-concedes to certain champion combinations? That would be more convenient. Why did we concede? Because I find Lee Sin miserable to play against, so I'm just not. I'd rather not. Mulligan the Luxes looking for a more aggressive curve here. Their deck is a go big Demacia deck, so I think the pressure is definitely on us to get under them.
Trickster never loses because Zoe makes the rules.
We have a pretty aggressive start here, which is nice. This throwing a barrier on this means we're attacking for 6 on turn 2. And then we get to River Shaper on their 3 into Riposte open attacks on our 4.
What's in here? Intruders.
Let's see if they found a danger noodle here. Please play a Plaza.
They swim within the flows of magic.
Sure. Pretty sure we're just opening attacks next turn.
Show me something cool.
I assume they're looking for a noodle here to have a blocker.
I call this constellation jump rope.
They're not a Leona deck. I wonder if I just play second River Shaper here. So what's the punish for second River Shaper? They could play the Daybreak Life Gain card.
Who goes there?
There's a good chance they play the Daybreak Life Gain card, even if they're not playing Leona. This is fine. You get 4 damage, you get to draw a spell here.
Bask in her radiant blessing.
The river shape the land and give it life.
The strength of the sun and my faith are one.
Nice, nice. We just palm this to stop their life gain. So Barrier Lifesteal does work how we want it to. However, my opponent's deck is a Hush deck. They're also a single combat deck.
The waters take. The waters are still.
So single combat, I think, implies they're not on the Invoke card. Which is good to know, I suppose.
Let the light guide you.
They're likely not on the Allegiance card. I expect them to have a little bit more, like... I feel like single combat means Judgment's more likely, because they're more likely to be playing more Demacia cards. I think I go ahead and... What's Zoe's level up price? That's a good question. 6 out of 10. I think I attack with this, because if they block here and Hush my Lux, I get to single combat my 3-2 into this, and it's not a big deal.
Focus on me.
This does mean I don't have single combat for Zoe, but hopefully we'll get to level Lux next turn. And final spark Zoe before she can level. So all things considered, that was a pretty decent Hush for us, I think. Okay, sweet. That should mean Zoe's not leveling, and then we get to blast her here.
Pushing my limits.
And I think I do need to blast her as opposed to waiting to do this, because there's a chance they level her next turn in response to me challenging it. Yeah, you're right. Attacking with the 3/2s was free there. Technically, I think I missed a point of damage. Some points of damage there.
Trespass here.
Attack like this and see what they do. I doubt they're going to 3, so like they get to do stuff before I decide what I wanna cast for the turn. The problem here is they can A-Soul us this turn. I'm not quite sure how we recover from that if they do. The Eclipse Dragon for -2 cost last turn. It's a tough one. Okay. We do in fact play one copy of that.
Bask in her radiant blessing.
Wub. Meteor me, daddy. Meteor me. Oh, yeah.
Steady my hand.
How many star shapings do they have? Yes. How does Final Spark interact with the spell shield here? Do they take 2? Yeah, I mean, we're gonna find out, yeah. It does not. It's unfortunate.
By the light!
So... yeah, I think we're Remembrancing plus Prismatic Barriering to generate another Final Spark here. I think I'd rather keep Stand United than the backup Lux here. I think this has more value down the line. This also allows me to, like, deploy this to put more pressure into play as well, which is great. Yeah, this is a burst speed laser for next turn, which is great. I think we're gonna pull this one out. Looking pretty okay for the home team.
Her light is our sword, her warmth our armor.
The fate of mortals.
Final Spark cannot target the face, no. I think we barrier both of these and then Final Spark this, right?
The Kinkou go where they are needed.
So anyways, I started blasting. Are you kidding me?
By the light!
Oh, that is incredibly unreasonable.
My life for these lands! Eliminate the enemy!
Alright, play your second copy of Judgment and kill me. Are you dead? Please be dead. You know what? We take those, okay? You know what? We take those, chat.
Apologized?
We take those here. Ain't nobody. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. A lot of their deck is slow speed, I suppose. Outside of single combat and judgment, like. I think there's a good chance this deck's gonna end up the most popular deck this patch. I think there was a chance the Lee Sin deck was gonna end up the most popular deck even before they nerfed Go Hard. Before they nerfed Pack the Bags, but I mean with that nerf, the Lee Sin deck, there's a good chance that that thing just ends up on top. It's very, very good. So Teemo Fizz is likely elusive aggro. This is a 40% chance of being a challenger unit. The problem is we're attacking on even, so this isn't doing anything till 4. I think I'm full mulliganing here, looking for my cheaper challenger units. Yeah, this is great. Fleet Feather and Single Combat are exactly what we're looking for here. I mean, even before Mogwai's video, the Lee Zoe deck was the Lee Zoe deck was the third most played deck before this latest patch. It was 13% to Twisted Fate's 14%.
My shield is yours.
My shield is yours.
Steel is yours.
Get him. Get him. Dodged a suit up. Everything's coming up Millhouse, chat.
2, 3, 4.
Nice, nice. I can just take this hit here and deploy River Shaper, and then next turn we can Bright Steel Protector and single combat and should be in a super good spot from there.
Changes, but never breaks.
Really, really good mulligan for us this game, finding our cheaper stuff. So, is it more valuable to hold single combat here, or is it more valuable to apply more pressure? I think trying to end the game is better here.
First one's free.
Got your back.
Sure.
Waters are still.
Honor guide me.
So, their board's gonna be empty here. We'll have a 2-1 and 2 3-2s, and we'll be at similar life totals.
Vandal Scout never.
No refund.
I don't know offhand what the matchup matrix looks like, Lambton. But from an anecdotal perspective, I do not feel like anything has an actively good matchup against the Lee Sin deck, no. I think I'm killing this before it can hit me again.
You outtrack. I just may have an answer.
I'll scout ahead.
Tom Soraka has a 75% win rate against Lee Sin according to Mobilytics. Okay. I guess they don't have a lot of interactions. They just get eaten up pretty consistently. Kind of makes sense.
Steel is yours.
Maybe I'm supposed to play this out and threaten lethal with the riposte, huh? That's not quite lethal, I suppose. Pretty sure I want to kill their elusive this turn.
Two, three, four.
Feels like we're in a pretty good spot. We take this hit.
More mushrooms.
Then we have Scout Dragon to open with the Scout attack next turn. And then with this especially, we'll hopefully be wide enough to kill them. Gross. Gross. Huh. I think we go Fleet Feather into Remembrance now. Would love, there are 60% of the hits from this are good for us. There's 2 challengers, and then there's, the lifesteal that we could roll. So we're hoping to find part of that 60%. Nice, so now we can kill both of these. in addition to pushing lethal. That'll do, pig. That'll do.
My collection.
I feel like these last two games we played showed like the good range this deck could have. Like grinding with Lux against the target Demacia deck, and then having our smaller interactive things against a deck that's lower to the ground. We won, but more importantly, we killed every Teemo in their deck. Big mood. Is the Deep good right now? I think the Deep is great. The Deep was actually my highlight video yesterday, and I added it up to my website as well, because I think it's super reasonable. I'm mulligan these, looking for aggressive curve. Maybe Vanguard's worth keeping if we want aggressive curve. I'm going to give myself the best chance of having a 2-drop on 2 to pair with Fleet Feather. Perfect. Wonder how Deep versus Lee works. You probably just die. The Deep has their average linear Goldfish draw is better than your linear Goldfish draw, and your interaction isn't meaningful against Lee Sin.
Field is yours.
Does Zoe grant ephemeral with her emblem? She does not. Yeah, I think there's a good chance they just like kick you from 20 and you die. I think you're much better off just doing what I'm doing on stream, and that's pretending Lee Sin doesn't exist, rather than trying to limit yourself to decks that can actively have good play against it, because a lot of decks just don't have good play against it. With this Stand United in hand and this Brightsteel Protector, we stand to level this Shen very, very quickly, which is sweet.
The power of the immortal sun. Bask in the light's radiance.
Fortunate. Tank, best possible unit. I wonder what their other play here was. If that was a tank play. Yeah, I agree, Windowhead. It's got big magic deck energy in that even when you beat it, it still kind of feels bad.
We chart our path by the stars.
You're covered.
Duty, selflessness, heavy burdens.
Hey, Solari! Got a bit of moon rock for ya!
I'd say it's overwhelming to play against. You're not wrong.
Arms that pierce the heavens.
All right.
Tons of damage!
Follow the path.
It was an above average turn for them, yeah. Stand United means we're not just dead, so that's nice.
The Kinku go where they are needed.
So if I open attacks or open Lux, I get to level Shen, which is nice. I think we probably just open Lux, right?
Whatever. Press on.
The Kinku protect. They are under my protection.
I'll be there.
And now Shen giving a barrier to this allows it to trade into Leona, which is great here. And then next turn, this levels Lux if she survives. And if she doesn't survive, I've got backup Lux rolled up here in hand.
Daylight everlasting.
Huh?
Sense an imbalance.
Honor guide me.
Am I willing to throw this away into this? I think I am. I think I am.
Unbeliever.
Can't stop me.
Putting this to 2. Yeah, this lets me kill Leona, and putting this to 2 means it dies to a Lux laser beam next turn, which is nice.
The Kinku.
Yeah, I think this exchange is good for us.
Light.
Thicklax, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. That's true. We can stun and single combat into laser, so if they play like an Eclipse Dragon here, that lets us save our Lux, and then we can do this next turn.
The strength of the sun and my faith are one.
That's probably the play, honestly. Stony Protector technically works with Lux the way you want it to, but I don't know that Stony Protector is good enough against anything else to make that be a worthwhile thing. Okay, so Lux is dying here, but I think how does this work? Not how I want it to.
Better. Brighter than before.
So then this will die.
Out.
And then we get to go ahead and blast this. Doing all right, Camperly. How long have I streamed for? I assume you mean like in total on Twitch. Probably close to about 7 years at this point. My channel's been partnered for almost 5.5 years, and I was streaming for a good bit before that. You don't just get partner right away.
Can do this.
Does mobile index show the win rate of a deck against certain decks? I believe that's one of their premium features, if I recall correctly. I also don't know that in general they have meaningful sample sizes to really make that data that they provide in that aspect useful.
Bask in her radiant blessing.
A beacon in battle.
Back, heretic. Believe or burn.
Pressuring their life total here is appealing because of Lux's final sparks. Knocking this to 2 means when we final spark it, it blasts through. And then if they want to if they want to deploy something to challenge with next turn, we get to deploy Brightsteel formation. Hey, Devil, thank you for the 2/3 here. I really appreciate the prime. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Shen's a great pickup here, too, for next turn. Maybe Lambton. We'll see. Their deck plays a lot of interactions. Like, there's a chance that, like, after I play Shen, they obliterate something. Yeah, they can have Comet. This invokes anything, so they can have, like, one of the big obliterates as well. They can also have, like, single combat. A lot of stuff they could do. We are going to have enough resources to Shen plus Remembrance next turn, though. So, like, even if they can answer Shen or Brightsteel or both, we'll still have a pretty good turn, I think. Yeah, even Equinox is a good generation, is a good observation.
What once was two, now is one.
Okay.
Siblings once were inseparable.
Channel our power!
Tread carefully.
So they're just like throwing this away to push 2 damage. I feel like they should only be attacking with this. Yeah, they're coming to the same conclusion. And this is actually a convenient 7 plus 6 is 13, so I can actually play all of these next turn, huh? I think Shen's the card I want them to know about the least. So I think we leave that one as our 3rd play.
I am the bulwark against darkness. The power of the immortal sun.
I think that was pretty good.
Behold the sun's holy light.
Who does not know the name Laurent?
Who does not know the name of Laurent?
The fate of mortals and spirits falls to me.
So Shen technically doesn't die to anything on their board. So I think the play here is Shen, my challenger, kill this. Because he's going to get a barrier, which will prevent their lifesteal. Obviously, if they have Hush for this or Pale Cascade to kill this, I'm not happy with that result. If they have both Hush and Pale Cascade, I probably get Savaged here. But I think we can beat one or the other, hopefully.
This is the wrong path.
Okay, no Pale Cascade. Could still have Hush. Neither Pale Cascade nor Hush. Yep, that's great for us. And with this Concussive Palm, I feel like there's a pretty low probability that they kill us next turn. My doctor and many others in my province have left because of the provincial health authorities doing terrible at handling COVID. So now if I want any of my prescriptions without going to a walk-in clinic, I have to find one of the non-existent. Man, that's rough. That's some like American level, not quite American level, but close.
My faith protects me. Bask in the light's radiance.
Single combat's not terrible. There's no reason to play my spells before they attack. They could have something big rolled up here still that's scary from their invoke earlier, so... Opponent, where are
Unyielding
you?
light. The sun's splendor revealed.
Okay. Zero Twisted Fates, a lot of Lee Sins.
We will not suffer unbelief.
They will not
Hey, Zach, thank you for the entire year of support. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Gohard was, like, never that popular, all things considered. Alright, now... Am I concussive palming? Now I think I'm concussive palming proactively.
Glorious light rains down.
It's a pretty stunning turn, all things considered.
Devotion to battle.
Descend upon them. Scorching light. Burn away doubt.
We'll see how they want to challenge things here. They might want to challenge Shen, even though he's stunned because of his text box. Yeah, I don't have to kill this proactively because I have single combat. Single combat gives me some play with how I want to, what I allow them to do here.
Your attack is obvious. You cannot win.
Can we do this and save Shen?
chart our path.
It's felt cohesive, K-Smith. Man. That's actually a good draw. That means I can attack with this, and
Cannot sway me.
really, they're not. Okay, yeah, deal. I'm surprised they're not blocking with this. I wasn't gonna scout attack if we didn't find a way to attack into this profitably. But this being a twice over lethal threat is great for us here. I'm hoping this isn't a Daybreak card. I guess even if it's a Daybreak card, it only stuns this. I think this block is right, which is why this Riposte was a good draw.
She started it.
I find them unworthy.
Gotta kill the elusive. Gotta kill the elusive. Have to block here, have to block here. They can take this and go to 2. So these two can hop in front of these. They can keep Leona and Zoe. Yeah, this game's been down to the wire for sure.
Caution.
I will protect you.
Yeah, I don't hate killing my Shen on their part. My board's pretty wide. What's their best draw here? Probably Solari Priestess. Something that invokes into another Silver Sister. It's probably their best possible draw. They've played 1 Priestess and 2 or 3 of the Allegiance invokes already, though. That covers us on that angle. Pretty sure we're just murdering this here, right? Oh, you know what? I should probably do it with the companion in case they have a +2/+2. Didn't get punished though. Any champions you wish there were better? Yeah, there's a few of them. A few champions that could stand to be better. I think this is too slow. I think I keep the single combat, looking for other 1s and 2s here. Yeah, there's a good chance we're just dead here. yeah. It's not gonna. And hand sucks. Opponent's playing Fearsome Burn there for reference, so my hand with just a bunch of cards that don't impact the board until much later is just not going to do anything. You want a 1-power Braum without the initial pull regeneration? Yeah, I can see that. We never tried that iteration. We had like the default with I got a small promotion at work. I have $10 to play your favorite deck. Thanks for the tip, Runtime. I appreciate the support. Congrats on your promo. I think I'm gonna keep all these. Probably a Remembrance on 3 game here. Or attacking on odds. Yeah, I like Remembrance on 3 and to shut on 4 a lot. You want Braum with 0 power and fury? Does Braum seem like the type of dude that gets angry? Brom's too lovable to have Fury, chat. He isn't an angry man. Screeching Dragon's probably the best hit here. Scout's not terrible. Alright, Scout's about to get flocked, chat. The moose is loose. Yep.
Anything else?
The eye of fire sees all.
Don't blink or you'll miss me.
Oh, you'll miss me.
Water changes but never breaks.
I think I just do this in response. It might have been right to wait to play the River Shaper out until I could guaranteed draw a spell with it.
Sure.
I think I definitely need to kill the Ezreal, though. Third blocks the charm. They discarded a flock to their urchin on one. That explains that play. We're gonna get to open for a hit for 5 here.
Ask me about dragons, I just may have an answer.
If the opponent has on curve Pharaon, are probably just dead. With the amount of damage we've taken. They're also attacking on evens, which makes it extra scary. They've drawn a lot of cards, so pretty likely to have on curve Pharaon.
The party has arrived. Two worlds, one balance.
The Sunbrook got me good. These woods protect their own.
Keeper, our lands need us.
Check me out. Don't blink or you'll miss me.
Okay, so we barrier this, and then we barrier something else with Shen, and that lets this single combat this.
Nature blesses her followers.
Okay, so that's the second Ezreal down at least. If we can dodge a Captain Pharaon, we can dodge a ball, chat. Yeah, like I said, there are 16 cards into their deck. This is probably a 3 of. Yeah, if we would have been able to dodge this, like these two into Brightsteel next turn, would like put them under a very real abyss and beat them down, but we're just gonna be too slow at this point now and get burned out. Nah, they're incredibly likely to have that. I mean, what's the hyper G on that? They were 16 cards into their deck, so their odds of having their 3 of on curve there. They are 80% to have Captain Pharaon on 8 there, having seen 16 cards. 4 out of 5 games they're gonna have it. I take no accountability for my actions. Have you considered running for U.S. president? Well, unsurprisingly, Zoe Lee Sin has been the most played against deck today. And it's not particularly close. Draven Ezreal might be. It's probably second. Definitely conceded at least 4 to 5 Lee Sin matches though. Between this and the set before it. Is River Shaper good enough here? It might be. We have a date, Y-Sticks. 3 weeks. We'll get Aphelios and probably the big balance patch, I would imagine.
I am one with the land.
They gave us a approximate calendar for the next little bit in the patch today. Has Riot ever done emergency changes? No. Technically, this last update to what's it called? Pack Your Bags was an out of cycle change. They were originally not planning to do any balance change until the start of February. But based on community feedback, they put one in this time. But no, I wouldn't expect a patch between now and 3 weeks from now. I think that's pretty unlikely. I'm happy with this trade. Could have a sharp sight here.
I walk the space between worlds. So I go.
Nature blesses her followers.
Could be wrong to prioritize protecting this here. They didn't have sharp sight last turn though, or perhaps they did, they just didn't care about what they were saving. Yeah, maybe I should have protected this instead of this, since I have the second River Shaper in hand. Very possible.
I'm one of the good guys, but not that.
Another one of those is nice. Barrier, actually not that useful in combat here. I guess that's not strictly true. If I barrier this, Misfortune can't kill it. The barrier only stops the 1 damage from her trigger, but it does prevent her from killing this by challenging, which is nice.
Watch this.
We have another sharp sight here.
Love ya.
We go Fleet Feather into Green Glade,
Nature blesses her followers.
and then we'll Lux next turn to start.
The Kinku protect those who keep the balance.
Just show me an ally in need. I'll be there.
Enforced equilibrium.
a pretty solid attack for us.
Under my protection.
Nature blesses her followers.
So they can jump block here and then go to 2. Getting them to trade Misfortune here is huge. And honestly, they probably need to with the threat of Lux laser beams bearing down on them.
Where you going?
Where you going?
I know what I'm doing.
The Kinku.
The
Nature
Kinku.
blesses her followers.
And then there's a good chance they don't open attacks next turn.
I gotta show you the sights of Bilgewater.
The sights are fine. The smells, on the other hand.
What if I proactively stand united these to get the final spark at burst to kill this before they can trigger it? I think I'm into that. Like, doing this proactively makes their attacks bad this turn.
Nature blesses her better, brighter than before.
Yeah, it means they just don't have great attacks either, and they're only at 2 mana here, right? So, I guess they could have Riposte to save Misfortune. This line's not great against. Hey, Ninja, thank you for the 31 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, no Riposte. We beat the final spark beat Sharpsight and Rangers, which is nice.
The superior tactic is to never give up.
This deck actually seems pretty reasonable. Our games against both aggro decks and control decks have felt decent. We've been on this for the last hour and a half almost. Felt like it's had play in a lot of places. The burn matchup has felt bad. We also had some awkward draws in those games, so I'm not sure that those are necessarily representative. Mulligan Egghead, we've got 1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3. It's just Curvamentary. What could it be?
Ours is the one true light.
No blocks. Go to 17.
Follow the horizon.
Go to 13? Question mark. Does not know the name Laurent. Are we playing this? I think I'm playing Bright Steel because Bright Steel lets me bank mana here so I can Remembrance next turn.
Steel is yours.
I think is the plan. Makes this curve real nice like. Sinful Shooter, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Good afternoon. So... Pale Cascade's a little mediocre for me regardless. We've played Zoe with Thresh yet. We've not. I don't know if that's necessarily a great pairing.
Cold and unforgiving as moonlight.
Strength and grace, beauty in the blade.
I think we're single combating this turn, as opposed to letting her eat one of my things for free.
Turn back. I will be heard.
Close my eyes.
And then I think we play around... Are we playing around Pale Cascade? Can't decide.
This is my limit.
We have played Field Rush with Zoe. I think I'm just gonna let this happen. Could be right to just open here to kill the Diana, as opposed to doing this.
Protect and
Let's do that. Opening makes their Pale Cascades worse. This also means one of my units died, which means if this rolls Radiant Guardian, it gets lifesteal and tough. It also costs 5, so now I can play Egghead Researcher this turn as well.
Ask me about dragons. I just may have an answer.
Feels like we're in a pretty okay spot here.
Raise your weapon, Sunwood.
Raise your weapon, Sunwood. I think we're riposting this. That is not quite ready to level yet. Maybe this is wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to hit the overwhelm unit, actually.
Devotion to battle.
Oh, this works out really well. Hey, Jacob. Do I want to put either of these in front of here? I don't think so. You want to play Luigi's Mansion? Is it on the Switch? Alright, have fun. It is. Okay, have fun.
Haven't we?
The Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch is really, really good. Declan and I had played that one to completion, and Jake's working his way through it now. You're stuck on the movie floor. That one was tough.
tried to blind me.
I know which one you're talking about.
They could not break me.
I think I ended up using the internet to get past that one,
Passion.
if I recall correctly. Declan's tolerance for being stuck only lasts for so long, so often have to internet if we get stuck for too long. This riposte here should likely savage this Diana.
Dark side.
So this is gonna level when these attack here. Just gonna give all their stuff fearsome.
Eyes. I will be heard.
Oh, they're out of cards in hand. Huh? Okay, so we're dead to Stalking Shadows into Doom Beast next turn. But outside of that, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. Unspeakable Horrors also kills us, yeah. Honestly, all things considered, I was pretty happy with that set. I feel like I had low expectations going into this. I wasn't really sure if this was going to feel cohesive or reasonable compared to some of the other both the Shen Fiora deck or the Zoe Lux deck, and I felt like we were doing things that were pretty reasonable overall, all things considered. The toughest matchups definitely felt like the decks that were getting under us. So, like, maybe there's a consideration of, instead of playing 1 Spirit Refuge and 3 Riposte, we want to split these like 2-2 to have a little bit more life gain in the build. And there could also maybe be a consideration if we're worried about having enough life gain consistently. We've got these cheaper challenger units. Maybe Radiant Guardian is a consideration we would want to work into here to have a little bit more consistent life gain. But overall, I think if this is a pair of champions that you enjoy playing both of and you want to play them together, that felt like it was capable of winning games reasonably. I know I skipped the Lee Sin Zoe matchups in that set, and I do think that that's probably going to be a bad matchup for this deck. We're not linear enough to race them, and the interaction that we're playing does not interact profitably with them, but I think the reality is, for a lot of decks, just like, you're just not going to get to have a good Lee Sin matchup. The cards that allow you to interact profitably with Lee Sin are an incredibly short list, and if you aren't in Hush or Frostbite, you have a hard time interacting with what their combo is doing, and because they have Zoe and Sparklefly, you can't really get under them. So, at any rate, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap up for me for today. I plan to be back tomorrow morning with a couple more Runeterra decks. Thanks everybody for hanging out, and welcome to the new folks as well. Remember, I have a couple of YouTube channels you can check out my stuff as well. My highlights channel posts a deck highlight almost every single day of the week, and then my other channel posts full stream archives. So, catch all y'all around later. Hopefully see some of you tomorrow.